Well, Kira Chimera, welcome to the Grapple Theory podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here. How are you doing?
Yay, hello. So it's been a while we talk about it, so
It has
looking
been.
forward to actually do it this time.
Absolutely. I'm sure it'll be worth the wait as well. Thank you. I want to ask about, by starting off the sort of first sort of few months of the year, because we're about halfway through the year now. How has 2023 been for you, both in and out the ring? How have you found it so far?
So I've purposely lowered down my wrestling bookings this year because I wanted to focus on my business and my personal life more, and only take the bookings that actually matter to me. So those where I know I'm going to be challenged, those where I know I'm in promotions who actually believe in me and who have plans with me. So yeah, I purposely prefer to keep it low, to take some time for me as well, because I think it's important in the wrestling industry.
Absolutely, yeah. I think a lot of people have said that when they've come on. It's important to have that work-life balance, and also make time for yourself to be able to I guess recover both physically and mentally as well at times.
Yeah, exactly. In 2022, and as soon as wrestling came back after the pandemic, I tried to get as many bookings as I could in order to progress. And then I was really in this state of mind where I wanted to get some reps in. So whatever bookings would come along, I would go for it. But I realized that as well as mentally as physically, at some point you just can't keep up. So it was very hard for me to find the balance between wrestling, my personal life, my mental health, my body recovery. So I made a promise to myself in December 2022. Okay, next year I chill out. I just take what actually matters, and so it means so much more to me when I go in the ring, and yeah, I prefer it this way.
Yeah, you can know your wrestling people and for promotions that have invested in you and have that faith in you. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you feel like you've got that balance now? Do you feel like that's sort of quite leveled out now? You're happy with it?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty at peace with that. I don't want more bookings. I think I have just what I want. I think I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Awesome. That's cool. And I wanted to ask you about your business. We'll get onto that a bit later. But in terms of in the ring, we talk about promotions that have invested in you. Obviously, you're the UKPW Women's Champion at the moment.
Yeah.
A promotion who have invested in you. That must be really cool to know that they have that faith in you to hold the title, especially when you're in a situation where you're sort of being more selective with your bookings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm really grateful for this. I really like working at UKPW. The promoters are very they listen to me. They always ask me how I feel about things and what I have in mind for the future and everything. So they really listen to me. And also, I'm going to be wrestling soon. I think it's 26th of August against Roth. Who is the champion there as well. So it's going to be a champion versus champion. I'm really, really looking forward to this one.
I was going to say, that's a huge match. And, obviously, August 26th, as I think everyone in British wrestling knows, it's the day before AEW. There are a whole bunch of shows going on the 26th. How much... does it mean to you to be having that match again against Roth, who again UKPW favourite, everyone Roth is brilliant, he's so good, and obviously again you said, the whole champion versus champion kind of thing, but for them to be putting that match on, I feel like that's a bit of a show stealer, because again there's so many promotions running on that day, but I feel like that's one of the matches that really stands out to me as this is going to be a great match.
Thank you, I really appreciate that. I'm hoping that fans are excited about it, of course, because I'm super excited about it. When the promoter told me, you're going to be wrestling Roth on August, I was like, really? Seriously? That's awesome. So I'm very happy to hear that, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool, isn't it? It's cool. I mean, I think that's the thing, isn't it? I was going to ask, does it feel not necessarily pressure, but is it an excitement and pressure kind of thing when, again, there are so many shows going on and you're we want this show to be the standout, because obviously Progress are running and RevPro are running and Eve are running, is there a bit of pressure, like, you know, in the locker room to be like, we want this show to be the best show this weekend?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think about it this way just before you told me. But yeah, of course, we want people to turn up. We want to like people to be so excited about it that like they come and they're like, yeah, okay, it was worth missing Eve, missing Retro, missing Progress for that show because we had like such a great time. So of course, for me personally, it's okay. I can't disappoint. I have to be at the level where people expect me to be, and it's rough. And Roth is it's a huge challenge. So, and also like I'm not as well as I would like to. I'm not too experienced yet into intergender matches, but I love them. I genuinely love them. So yeah, it's a challenge on several sides, you know.
Yeah, no, I was going to say if anyone can get down to UKPW for that show, I already booked in a different show before that match was announced, and then like one of my mates who's going to the UKPW show showed me that, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, like why couldn't they announce this before I made my plan? Because I would have gone to that, but like no, I'm sure it's going to be a great match, and obviously like Roth is someone who's like super talented. I feel like he's someone who like really doesn't get like the plaudits he deserves. I feel like he's so underrated in the scene.
100% agree. I totally agree on that. He's like, even as a human being, the guy is really amazing. So yeah, he deserves all the praises, really. For sure.
And you said like obviously you're not too experienced in intergender matches, but I couldn't have you on here and not ask about your match with Scotty Rawk at United, because I feel like again that was just another one that like really got social media talking. I feel like it was a real good match, and like you two had such great chemistry in it as well.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a weird one, to be fair, because like I turned up. I mean, I was meant to wrestle Alina Blue that night for Full Scan Anywhere, and the day before she pulled out because, well, she got injured. What she says, to be fair, I'm sure she was just scared.
Obviously.
So the promoter told me, look, okay, we have a replacement. It's gonna be Scotty Rawk, and I was like, oh, hold on, like, sorry, it might be a mistake. Sorry, can you repeat that? and I was like, oh my god, Scotty Rawk coming down south. I'm gonna get my ass kicked. And I was very scared. And I saw him for the first time. I was like, mate, like, we look like a tag team, actually. Like, yeah. I can't fight you. You're too cool. And I remember, so we started the match. I offered him a beer and everything. People loved it. And then we literally kicked each other's ass, really. And the crowd was so much into it. Like, I've heard fans telling me that it was the best intergender match they've seen so far in their lives, which is absolutely crazy. It was apparently the match for the night. Everyone, when we came back in the locker room, were like, whoa, what was that? So really, really, really happy. And the fact that I'm gonna have my revenge coming very, very soon. I'm so hyped for that. And I hope that the fans are just as hyped as I am.
I was gonna say, like, again, I was gonna come on to the rematch, obviously, because I think that's like the weekend before your match with Roth as well. So like, you got two huge matches coming up in 2 weeks. Like,
too much on the road. This is gonna be insane.
But
I was just thinking about it this morning. I was like, August is gonna be intense.
No, for sure, but it'll be great as well. And again, like, I feel like, you know, obviously it's amazing that like the fans loved it and you got that reaction from them, and it seemed like such a big thing. But like, basically, like on socials as well, like seeing you talk about it and seeing Scotty talk about it, it seems like a match that meant a lot to you both personally as well. It seemed like it really like made a connection with you both.
Yeah, well, I mean, he knows it. It has been a little bit of a game changer for me because, like, I have been very discreet about it, but since August last year until January this year, I got like a bit away from the rings. I started to take less and less bookings because really my mental health and some personal issues with wrestling got really into my head. So I was like, okay, I need to like step away from the ring. And Scotty was my first. Also, I mean, I had a match just before in the afternoon, just before turning up to United. So he was not my first match back, but
same day,
my first day back, let's say. And it made me like, yeah, it really changed my approach about wrestling. I was like, okay, when I'm put with people who I actually trust and people who actually respect me and people who actually care and good people, well, it makes wonders, it makes magic, you know, and that really put me in a very good mood about wrestling and my wrestling career and everything. And yeah, it has really been a game changer, and it made this connection with him. Like, I have a lot of respect for Scotty, really.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like, obviously it sort of goes back to what we were talking about, like where sometimes you have to put like your mental health and your health generally first rather than wrestling. And like, I think Scotty's been such an advocate for that as well in terms of like mental health, and he's so good talking about it and like talking to people about it as well. Like that's like totally. It's cool to like again be against someone who like can sort of relate to how you might have been feeling at that time.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, just as I said about Roth earlier, like Scotty is an awesome wrestler. He has the full package, and he is also a wonderful human being. So I think this is very important to wrestling. You can be a good wrestler, but it'd be a natural twat. Sorry, Charles Crowley. and so you just, it's just, there's something missing here. I think like, be a good human being first, and then you know, I value that so much. I value that so much.
For sure, absolutely. No, well said. And like, again, when you talk about like obviously taking a step back as well to work on your mental health and things like that, is that in that moment, is that a tough decision to make? Is it tough to be like, I want to be getting more bookings and like getting myself out there, but this needs to come first? Like, is it a tricky decision to make to come to terms with that?
Well, the thing is, I literally gave up everything I had in France to come to the UK. And I've been extremely disappointed by how I've been treated in some places and by some people. And this was absolutely not what I would have expected when I sacrificed so much to come here and to like make how do you say, make a name for myself here.
Yeah.
And so it was like a big like emotional lift. Like, I don't know if that's very English.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, I was in that kind of conflict within myself where I was like, yeah, I want to like make a name for myself, and I want to like be seen more, and I want to be in the big places and all of that. But at the same time, I know that there's some places where I'm not so much welcome because of some dramas that happened and stuff like that I've been put into, and I haven't asked for anything like that. And so it's like, what am I supposed to do? Okay, let's focus on myself. Let's put wrestling aside. Let's rebuild. But that was not. I think it was a natural decision, but it was not easy to take.
No, sure, and like, no, huge respect to you for that, because like, again, that's not an easy call, and like, yeah, like personally, I think you're doing great work. I think it's awesome to see like the work you're doing. So like, I'm glad that you're getting back out there, but I understand that like sometimes you've got to take a break for yourself, because like that is the most important thing at the end of the day. But like, I was going to ask you about like you're sort of like moving over here, because again, like whether it's sort of like someone who even lives here and wants to turn like fully pro, or like someone moving country, because there are a few like imports who like now live in the UK like to wrestle. Like obviously that's a huge decision. Like how did that come about in the first place? Like why the UK scene, and like how, again, like almost like how tough was that decision to make in terms of like, I'm going to give up my life in France to like move to a whole new country to pursue this dream?
In France, you have to know that so back in 2019, so just before the pandemic, the British scene was like adored. It was like that's the biggest scene with America and with Japan, for example. Like this is literally the biggest scene that is next to us. At this point, the German scene was not as big as it was, so it was really the place to go if you wanted to break out, basically. And I was very happy in my life. I had a super job. I had my house. I had some opportunities. I just passed some very tough casting in Paris to be like in some sort of singing, music, dancing and acting school. And I passed them and I was like, okay, so now I have two options. Pursue my dreams in the UK and literally give up everything, or like go for that school in Paris. I was like, fuck that shit. Let's just go. Let's just go. Like I've always wanted to live in London anyway. Like since I'm a little girl, I've always been like, oh, London is so beautiful. So yeah, like it was a very spontaneous decision. I literally told my boss, look, I'm not made for that shit. I hate having a boss. I just hate it. So I'm taking 5 weeks off and I don't care about what you say. I'm just taking 5 weeks off. I went to the UK for 5 weeks, 6 weeks actually, during summer 2019, sorry.
Yeah.
And I loved it. That was like my first experience to it. I was like, okay, I take a few weeks to like get into training. I'm not even searching for bookings. I just go train. So at this time it was Knuckle-Locks. So I went to train Knuckle-Locks. And then I came back in about September in France, and it took me from September to January to like make this official decision to move. But it was just a matter of how I'm going to survive in London more than will I go or not.
Yeah.
It was just that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, sure. And we talk about like, again, almost like, I feel like we're on a sort of like a big old mental health talk here. So like, I feel like it's cool to keep that going. But like, in terms of, you mentioned like the stepping away from the ring for a bit because of everything that happened. Like, was it that moment, or was there a time either before or after that where you like maybe questioned yourself as like, have I made the right decision here? Like to move to the UK?
Yeah, because as well as this happened, and then also I lost my job, I lost the place where I lived. I literally had nowhere to go. I literally, like, just a few months before, I was in this time where I was like, I had 3 weeks to decide if whether or not I stay in the UK and I try to pursue my dream, or if I come back to France and play the safe card. So again, like just a few months before all the weird stuff happened, I had to take that decision, and I took the risk to stay in London, even if it meant that I was officially homeless. And it was like I felt like maybe I should have come back to France, chill, be able to speak my own language, see my family because I haven't seen them for so long, like train in my school in France, have my people around, and then when I feel refreshed, come back in the UK. I really regretted that decision at this point. But then again, that match with Scotty, really, after that match, I was like, okay, it was all worth it.
That's awesome. I love that. And I love that, like, again, like, that match was so important to you, because it was like a great match as well. Like, so for that to be like so meaningful to you, like, that means like that's cool. That really like hits home. Like, I love that. And we're gonna sort of like move on to like a bit more like the cheery side of it as well, because we're gonna find out now from you where it is actually better to live out of England and France. Because I'm gonna go like through a few like topics with you, and I want you to tell me which country does it better.
Okay, lovely.
So this is like the England versus France challenge. So the first one is of course the food.
Oh my god, France, 100%. Oh my god, I'm so depressed here when it comes to food. France. Each time I come to France, it's like, give me all the food. I'm coming back here. I have like 4 more kilos on the scales. I don't give a fuck. Like, sorry, I don't give a damn.
Oh no, you can swear. You can swear. It's fine. This is like a no holds barred kind of podcast. So like you can swear.
Cool, perfect.
But like, no, I get you there. Because like, again, I've like grown up in England my whole life, so I'm like, okay, like English food is all right, but like then when you like sort of, you know what I mean? When you like travel and try other countries' foods, you're like, okay, no, English food is kind of crap, like in comparison.
Yeah.
Is there any English food you like? Is there anything like English, like proper English food that you're like, that's good?
Wow. Okay, if I'm thinking like that, that means no.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the pause means no, really.
No. To be fair, I really like an English breakfast.
Nice.
And Sunday roast. That's always the classics, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not so much a big fan of fish and chips because it's too fat. But and also there's something that English do better than France. It's convenient food. When you need food on the go, it's so accessible. And also, all that is like for people who go to the gym, protein bars and protein products. It's so easy to find them in the UK. Like so easy. In France, it's hard actually to find protein bars everywhere. Like really.
Is it?
So that's a good food.
No, I get you on the like the convenient food though, like because especially like if like I love holidaying in France, so like whenever I go there, like you go to like shops there and you're like. You have to like make this. You have to buy the stuff to make your sandwiches. They don't like. There's not a lot of like ready-made sandwich choice if you like want something really quick. Yeah. So like, I get you there. I get you there. Yes, for England, but I get you. France does definitely have the better food. The next one is the transport.
Oof. I think. I mean, London. London is an actual scam when it comes to transport. It's so expensive, man. Oh my god. And also, you can't just drive a car. You have congestion charge things and stuff like that. This is like, no, in France, I mean, it's more convenient in London, I would say. However, like where I go back in France, I much rather like transport in France. Like it's much less expensive. It's much less overcrowded. You can ride your car in big cities. Can you imagine that? So yeah, France. Nice.
The next one is like we got to get England on the board here. England have got to be on the board. We've got to be good at something, but we'll see. The next one's like nightlife and entertainment. So things like going out in the evenings, but also things like like cinema and bowling, like things to do just generally.
Yeah, I'm a bit in between. Because. Obviously, I live in London when I'm here, and when I come back to France, I don't live in Paris. I hate Paris. I'm telling you that now. I live in Rennes, which is like the capital of Brittany. So I would say, of course, there's so much more to do in London. Also, like the theater productions are absolutely amazing. I'm a big theater fan. The West End is like, it's so good. There's so much to see, and it's quite affordable as well. Like they always have good deals and everything. So when it comes to gigs, there's gigs all the time, and it's amazing, especially for a big like music fan as me. Like
yeah, I was gonna say I clocked the Slipknot shirt early on. Like that's you've got good music taste. I'll give you that. Like
thank you.
All about the metal. All about the metal for me. So like I love that.
Awesome. Yeah, like so in London, of course, like there's so much gig all the time. I don't know for England because like I've always been just in London. I didn't really travel around. So yes, for that. Although when it comes to like, for example, swimming pools, there's no goddamn swimming pools in London. Like you have to be a member or whatever. In France, you just go to a swimming pool. There's like tons of slides and everything. It's so good. And no, like in London, it doesn't seem like to be a thing.
Yeah, no, I've not thought about that, to be honest. I'm not a huge swimmer, but I like swimming, but I'm not a huge swimmer, so I'd never really thought about that. But you do have a point, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I come from Brittany, so it's literally like I lived on the sea all the time before. So swimming is such a big part of my summers. And when you're in London and you don't want to like take a train to go to Brighton and be on like a rock beach, and I'm like, oh my god, why isn't there sand in that beach? Why?
I agree with you. Like the rock beaches are, but I can't. I'm like originally I'm from Brighton, so I can't have you bad mouthing Brighton.
Oh, okay.
Brighton's great. I won't have any Brighton slander. If you want that though, in Brighton they've just opened up a like an open air like outdoor swimming pool on the beach, so you can like
really?
so you can see the sea while you're swimming and stuff. And I'd recommend going there because that's really cool.
Okay, good point for that.
Yeah.
Well
the next one is, so that's half a point for England, I think. It's not a full point. We've got to get a full point, really. But the next one England's not going to win because it's the weather.
Well, to be fair, where I come from, we have exactly the same
I was going to
weather.
say, if it's northern France, you might just be about similar, mightn't it? Yeah.
It's not really northern France. It's literally the little part of France that is just beneath England.
Yeah.
So it's the little part on the side, and it's exactly the same weather as here, if not worse, to be fair.
Oh,
so
that's bad.
Yeah.
That's not
it's
good.
so indecisive, like really. So.
Oh, I felt sure that France would win that one, but I understand. Yeah, that's that really is bad. If it's like not as bad as England, that's bad weather.
Oh, it's so indecisive. This is terrible. It's terrible.
No, fair enough. The next one I think is crucial for a wrestler. It's like the gyms and stuff.
To be fair, this is quite the same, but I would give the point to England because when I think gym, I also think what is around gym. So obviously the food. I mean the gym nutrition, say like protein and all of that. And this is so much more accessible in the UK. So I give the point to England for this.
We got one. There we go. We got one.
Yes.
I don't think we're going to get one for this last one because the last one is actually no. There's two more. Sorry. The next one is the housing, both in terms of price and in terms of like the quality.
France, 100%.
You can't, especially if you live in London. There's no way housing was winning that one.
Oh no! Like I used to have an actual house with like two rooms, a huge garage, a huge garden, and I paid €400 a month for that. Like here for £400,
you wouldn't even get the garage. You get nothing.
Exactly. So yeah, it's like a huge difference. And also, I think there's some sort of laws and everything when it comes to having a decent place to live. And I've seen places in London that were rent, and like things just didn't work at all. And so I'm like, okay, we surely don't have the same laws when it comes to being allowed to rent something. So, and there's so much scams, and it's so hard to like find a place to live. Yeah. Like in between the scams and then the amount of people who want to live here compared to the amount of places that are actually available. This is really hard actually in London. Yeah. Really, really
it's hard. Like you've got to see it, like have a viewing like within half an hour and then know you want it in that. Otherwise it just goes like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very hard. No, it's mad. It is mad. So I'm not surprised France wins that one. And the last one is the people. Like, just the general public. I don't know. Because, so, what I loved when I came here is that people are so open-minded here. You can be whoever you want. And people are not judgmental. It's like, France is a little bit late when it comes to certain things. However, what I like with French people is that we are very, very honest. We don't, we are very straightforward, which can be seen as rude, but it's the way we are. Like we're very, very straightforward, and that's something that I'm missing here. When sometimes I'm having chat with British people, and they would go around the subject, and I'm like, can you go to the point already? So I'm a bit mixed on this one. No, I really appreciate the open-minded culture. No, sure. I think, well, that's the end of that, but I think France won that quite comfortably, and I'm not surprised. But obviously, like, England has its plus points too. London has some plus points, but I understand why France would win that. But I wanted to ask you as well, again, while we're on the topic of France, is about another title that you hold, the first women's champion in Rixakatch, which is amazing. Like, how much did that mean to you in terms of, like, again, like, almost like a homecoming, like going home, winning the title there in front of, like, a home audience. Like, that must have been special.
That was, I mean, I cried in the ring. Before I even started to do anything, my first entrance, because it was a tournament, my first entrance, the fact that the crowd was singing Tu cassé for me, because the music just crashed. I already was in the ring with tears in my eyes, and you can see it in the videos if you want to watch it. So that was already special, and yeah, like winning the tournament there I mean, it was the first time doing a women tournament. It was also the first time there was a belt on like Rick's belt, and also the first time it was a women match as a main event. And because I spent so much of my time like fighting for more women's representation in France, it's like a huge achievement, really. And also, as you say, yeah, it's my hometown, really. It's my home. It's my people, and they saw me grow since I started wrestling. They saw my whole career. They saw me lift the UK. They saw me evolve, and that meant a lot. That meant so much for me.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And like I like you say, like watching that match, you can see the emotion in it, and like at the end when like all the fans like sort of like jump up and like they're bashing the ring and stuff, like that's just mega cool.
Oh yeah. I was here like in the ring, in the middle of the ring. I heard all the people around me bashing the canvas, and I was like, am I dreaming already? Like, what's happening? And yeah, that was such. I can't forget this moment. That was, I think, that was the biggest achievement of my career, and I'm happy. If my career has to stop tomorrow, I'll finish it happy. Really.
No, that's awesome. I love that. That's really cool. And like, again, you mentioned like the tout casseur thing. I want to get onto that because like my French is very basic. It's like more conversational. I'm not fluent, but it's like it's break things, right, and something like that.
Break everything. But of course, it has the literal meaning of like literally breaking everything. I mean, I come with a bat, but it's also it's deeper than that. You can go into break the rules, break the establishment. And all this kind of thing. It has like a whole inspirational and whole motivational meaning behind all of that. And it really is what I found the most proper to my own anti-conformist opinions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was going to say it fits your character very well. Like that whole attitude.
To be fair, like there's not much difference between the Kira you have in the ring and the human. Really, it's really
it's a nice
hot.
blend.
And also, so just for the story, the tout cassé comes from my favorite punk rock band, who did a song called tout cassé.
Okay.
And this was actually the first. I took the idea from them, and actually the way it's written is quite the same as the way the logo of the band is.
Nice. Who is it? Yeah. Who the band?
It's called Tagada Jones.
Okay, no, I don't know them. I'm not familiar with them.
It's a punk rock band from Rennes, where I come from.
Okay. So, like, again, that extra depth of meaning as well. Like, again, like, hometown band, hometown wrestler sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
We need to get them to, like, do your intro music at some point, like, on a show. Get them all involved.
Actually, my entrance music is something that I've created myself with my friend composer, and it's actually me singing on it as well.
Yeah, and I was going to say, because I was going to get onto your music as well a little bit, like, because that's really cool as well, like, that you do your own stuff. Like, did that come up, like, at the same time as your wrestling? Like, were you keen on music and wrestling at the same time, or did the music come after? Or did the wrestling come after?
Well, no, the music came first because I grew in a family where my brothers were musicians, and so I've always been interested into singing and to bass. But yeah, I discovered wrestling. I went to wrestling, and then I started to have bands. So it was a kind of at the same time when I actually get proper started. So yeah.
Yeah. Do you like gig at all with your band, like in London, like or either in London or in France or like wherever? Like, do you do gigs? Like,
I don't have a band at the moment. I'm actually searching for a drummer. I'm searching for a drummer at the moment, but I have projects in mind. I really want to start getting something in London because I think that it's a very good scene.
Yeah.
There's a very good scene. There's a lot of opportunities. So if I get to like perform one day in one of those super cool metal bar in London, it would be such a big achievement.
That'd be cool. I'd love that. I'd come and see that. Like, that'd be awesome. That'd be really cool. I always talk on this podcast. We've had a few like people who like music on, and we always talk about how we should start like a whole like Brit Rest band, like with loads of wrestlers on different instruments and stuff. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Oh yeah. There's definitely a lot of people who are into wrestling and music.
Yeah. Scotty's one as well, isn't he? Scotty's got a band as well, I think. Like, yeah.
Yeah. He's an awesome singer. Seriously.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent out there. There's a lot of talent. I was going to ask actually as well, going back to like your character and stuff. I was going to ask about before we get onto like your business stuff, because I want to get on that as well. But like, I was going to ask about like the baseball bat and where it comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just the inspiration behind it, because obviously we had Ivy on the show like a long time ago, and obviously she comes out with a baseball bat as well. I'm just wondering, like, also like just while we're on it, I think that would be a great match, like Battle of the Bats. I think would be pretty cool to see. Like you both have it in the ring going head to head. I think that'd be awesome. But like for yourself, when did you decide that's something you wanted to incorporate into like your character?
So it came to me a bit like that. So I had a match in, I think, 2018, I believe, if not 2019. And during the match, I hit the bat under the ring, and that was the very first time I used it to try and distract the ref.
Right.
And after the match, I was like, that has had a lot of reaction. And at this point, I was like this kind of wrestler who was very, very underestimated. I came from a part of France where there's not a lot of wrestling, and you had to be in Paris absolutely to have the booking. So I had one booking a year, you know.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, it looks like the bat has its effect. So what about I use it to be sort of different from the others, because I was still in this time where I was searching myself, and I wanted to like stand out with something. And so I was like, okay, I'll take the bat, and I'm going to reinvent myself, and the bat will be a tool that I use to like stand out and be seen and be recognized and be different until I don't need it anymore, until I make a name for myself. And the funny story is that after the pandemic, it took me 2 years to come back to France, and I came back to the ring. It was in March 2021, I believe, or 2022. I don't remember.
It all blends into one at some point, doesn't it? Like time just has gone mad.
Oh yeah, it's so weird. So I came back in the UK after 2 years not wrestling in France, and funny enough, my bat actually broke in the ring. And that was fantastic because that day, before I even came in the ring, it was 900 people in that crowd chanting my name. And it was like, wow, like I wanted to have the bat until I make a name for myself and for people to know my name and for people to know me. And here I am in the ring in front of 900 people chanting my name. And I'm breaking the bat. How awesome is that?
Yeah.
How symbolic is that? So I gave the 2 pieces of the bat to some fans, and I told them, look, I don't need the bat anymore in France because you all know my name already.
I love that. That's amazing. Like, yeah, like you say, that's like a super symbolic, like sort of like meant to be kind of moment.
Yeah, exactly. That was meant to be exactly.
No,
so now I keep it in the UK. But if one day I get to a point where I have a whole York Hall, say, or whatever, Electric Ballroom chanting my name, if the bat breaks, I'm just gonna get rid of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, that's really cool. I think that would be great. Like, that would be, yeah, again, like, especially if it happened, like, again, in the same scenario where that happens and it just, like, unplanned breaks again, like, then you just know it's like fate.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
there's a natural story to the bat. Like, this is, it helps, it's not like something I would use. It's something, it's a tool, it's also a threat. It also has my intention of it, to can say. It has a message. It's more like a message thing more than anything.
Yeah, for sure. No, and that's awesome. That's really awesome. And I wanted to get onto it as well. Like we talked about, like a bit about your like sort of like shoot job as well, in terms of you work in music as well, don't you? Like with Breakout Exposure, isn't it? That you do.
Yeah.
It's like is it music like sort of marketing almost, like for bands and singers and things like that?
It's some sort of collective or like communication agency. It's not just musicians, it's like artists in general. So we also cover wrestlers, we also cover actors, dancers, all kind of artists, but it's more targeted wrestlers and musicians. So it's basically me partnering with my partner, Phil. He's a wrestling videographer. He's been working for Eve, he's been working for Response, and all the promotions as the big video guy. Basically. Yeah. And one day I thought, look, like, you're very, very good at what you do at videos. And I have, at this point, I had a business for entrepreneurs for social media to help them like gain visibility and find clients and all that. So I thought, look, what about we like partner together and create a whole thing to help artists, like musicians, wrestlers, in order for them to obviously break out and gain exposure, which give the name Breakout Exposure. So yeah, I'm a social media strategist, and I also coach artists to find their message, or wrestlers to find their characters. I help them to like know how to network, know how to like do a mailing list or whatever, the business side of it. So yeah, there's a whole thing.
Yeah, I was going to say that must be, it seems like it would be quite a smooth transition, because in terms of like getting your name out there and like sort of almost like a brand identity and things like that, and like pushing, like, again, like you say, like exposure of yourself either as a wrestler or as a musician, like it seems like music and wrestling are kind of very linked in that way, like they're very similar.
Oh yeah, definitely. I personally work with wrestlers the same way I work with musicians, to be fair. The only difference is that we know that wrestlers have characters, whereas in music, musicians don't especially know that they should have a character, you know? So there's this whole like trying to explain to them that sort of thing. But yeah, like actually music, wrestling is all very linked. And for me, it was indeed a very, very natural transition. And also like, because I have experience in both things, it's very easy for me to help those people. So it was very, very natural to get to this.
No, that's awesome. Congratulations. That's cool. That's really good work. Really important work as well, I think. Because like, I think that is such a tough thing, right? For like wrestlers or musicians, is like getting your name out there, like properly breaking out, especially like somewhere like London as well, where like the scene is so crammed with people like trying to make a name for themselves. It's so hard to get noticed.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point of, we're trying here to find a way for them to stand out, the way that I've been trying to stand out with my baseball bat, for example. So my role is to literally give them the baseball bat.
Yeah, which is awesome. Like no, I love that. That's really cool. And we got like a couple of like closing features here on the show. So we're going to go through those as well. And this one is called Anatomy of a Pro Wrestler. So it's almost like a what makes you kind of thing. So they're not questions specifically about wrestling, but they're just general questions, and I'll let you know them, and you let me know what comes to mind for each one.
Okay.
So the first one is, what is your favourite post-pinfall pig out?
Post what?
Post-pinfall pig out, like your post-show like cheat meal kind of thing. Like when you're coming back from a show and you want something like really like bad and like fast foody or something.
I don't go fast food.
No, not ever. Not even like after a show as a treat.
No, I don't fancy that at all.
What do you go for after a show then? Like say if you're like traveling back and stuff. What?
I'm really happy with a beer. All the time, just after a show, I love my beer.
Nice.
I love my beer. I would say that's the one.
Nice.
That's the big one. Yeah.
That's cool.
And then usually I'm kind of boring. I prepared my food already. So.
What do you prepare? What's your like go-to?
Usually some sandwich or some wraps. I'm very French when it comes to that.
Nice.
Something with carbs.
Yeah.
And a lot of protein. Yeah.
No, I like
I'm
that.
trying to be good, and also if my coach here listen to this podcast, just he should not know about the beer, okay?
Yeah. No. Cut the beer out. No beer. We didn't say beer. Who said beer? No.
Yeah.
No one mentioned that.
No, to be fair, there's one thing I actually live with a Russian family. My partner is actually English and Russian.
Okay.
And his mom makes amazing dumplings. And that is, when I come back from a show, not too late, that's the perfect thing.
Yeah. My partner's Polish as well, so like I get you with the dumplings, like the pierogi and stuff like that. It's just so good.
It's just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I get that. The next one's also food based, but it's like, what would your like last meal be? Your like death row meal kind of thing.
I think it has to be crepes.
Nice.
It has to be crepes. I'm too French. Right?
What would you go for filling wise though? Do you go sweet or savoury?
So in France we have something here. You know that like Britain, from Brittany, we created crepes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, we created crepes. Yeah, I have crepe dough in my veins.
It's like pumping through. Yeah.
I'm a very sugary person. Like this is my guilty pleasure. Like all that is crepes, brownies, and all that. I just
Nice. That's good. Yeah, I like ghost sweet crepes generally as well. But like, I feel like they're different. I feel like they're a bit. Well, actually, I know because I've had. But like, they're better in France, definitely. Like, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Like, of course they are. Nice. That's a good choice. Given like the fact that again, like you're wearing the Slipknot shirt, I feel like you have already very good music taste. So I'm interested in this next one. It's the song that gets you the most hyped.
I would say a song from Anti-Flag, which is a punk band. Do you know that?
Yeah, I know Anti-Flag. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I love. There's one song that I love from their most recent album. Is called Love, Cry, something. There's like several words like that. It starts with love, for sure. I don't remember.
Oh my god, it's in my head as well. Like again, I know Anti-Flag, but I wouldn't say like they're one of my favorite bands. So like I know their songs, but like it's tough to name them when I'm not on the spot.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I actually went to see them in Brighton a few weeks ago.
Oh really? Nice.
Yeah, it's such a very, very small venue. The Patterns.
Oh,
and
I like Patterns. Yeah.
The bassist, that was fantastic.
I love Patterns.
I actually have just right here his pick. Yay.
Oh, you got the pick. Nice.
And the set list.
Oh, no, you were right at the front.
Yeah.
Love that. That's awesome. That is so cool. Yeah, Patterns is a great venue as well. Like as we're talking Brighton as well. Like if any band that you like are playing a venue called the Concord, that's where you want to go in Brighton. Like that's my favorite. That's my favorite gig venue ever.
I think there's Punk Rock Factory, and I booked this for I think October, and I think they play in this place.
If they are, you'll love it. Like the Concord is my favorite music venue, like ever. I'm obviously a little biased because I grew up in Brighton, but like I just think it's wonderful. I just think it's so cool. So like you'll have to let me know what you think when you go down there.
Of course.
Nice. I was gonna say like the punk rock thing makes sense though, because like your music as well is like very punky and stuff like that. Because I've heard a couple of your songs as well. Like you like that's generally the sort of music you go for.
Yeah, definitely. I love an Anti-Flag. I love a Zebrahead, Sum 41 and Green Day.
Nice. I was gonna say I see like that's the next one. The next one's movies. It's the movie that I'd show the locker room. So I always say, like, it doesn't have to be your favourite movie necessarily, but, like, the movie you think everyone should see at some point.
The Room.
Oh, The Room is terrible. No, I mean, that's why everyone should see it, I guess, because it's so bad, but, like...
Yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad that it's so good.
Yeah, it's one of those films, like, you almost have to see, because you won't believe how bad it is if you haven't seen it.
Yeah. There's actually a cinema in London, in Leicester Square, Prince Charles Cinema.
Oh, yeah.
That shows them, and it's fantastic because everyone in the room, most people in the room already know all the quotes. And so there's something to know about that movie is that it's so shit.
Yeah.
That they put frames for pictures and they let the background of the frames already there. Didn't change it for actual pictures. So there's actually spoons in those frames. So there's a thing when you go to the Prince Charles Cinema where as soon as you see those frames, you throw spoons in the cinema, and that's hilarious.
I love that.
That's actually hilarious.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's an after experience. They show it soon in July and in August. Go if you can go.
Okay, I might do. Yeah, I've not seen it in that setting, so that might be an experience.
A very important thing: take someone who has never seen The Room and tell them that it's fantastic,
and then see their reaction.
Because the reaction when you have people who don't know is just.
I think that's the thing, though. Is I feel like now it is fantastic because it's such a like cult classic, terrible film that it's somehow become like a great film because everyone sees it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just fantastic.
No, it's a good choice. That's a good choice. The next one is a bit of a throwback because it's your first job.
My first job, I think it was being a babiesitter.
Ah, that's like a classic growing up job, yeah.
Yeah, classic one. And actually, you know what? I've been on a French TV show while I was a student. Like a very, for France, a very famous TV show. And it was literally like several contestants who had like all a nightlife and a day life.
Right.
And there was a guest who had to guess who was doing what, basically. And I've been put in the category of someone who was selling sex toys at first, when I was actually a babysitter and a wrestler. So that was terrible.
Did you get? Sorry, someone guessed that you sold sex toys, or like that's what you said. Like
yeah. They saw that I was doing this, and I was like, okay, I don't know what to think about that.
That is brilliant. I love that. Yeah. The next one's a little deep because it's your greatest fear.
I think it would be just time. Time is my greatest fear. I'm always trying to rush to try and save time, but actually it's the worst thing to do. And the thing that would stress me out the most is literally be like, oh shit, I lost 5 minutes when I really should have could have done so much better. So I developed a very organized brain when it comes to that, of saving time all the time. So that time is definitely my greatest fear.
No, sure, I get that. The next one's a bit lighter because it's your favorite animal.
A horsey.
Horses, nice. That's a good choice. Yeah. Is there a reason or like?
I've been horse riding for 10 years actually. So,
nice. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I love that. How good are you? Are you like a good level or like?
I used to be, so in France we have 9 levels and I used to be the 7th. So
damn.
Yeah.
Damn, that's pretty good horse riding.
Yeah.
Awesome. The next one is the only wrestling question on this list. It's your favorite match stipulation. So like, for this, a singles match counts as a stipulation. Like it can be a singles match, but it can literally be anything else. Like,
of course, a hardcore match. Of course, a no DQ.
Yeah.
Of course, no DQ.
Bit of violence.
It's violent. I can do whatever I want. I don't have any rules. It's just so fun. Just so fun. I can use my bat.
Yeah. No, I love it. I thought
and there's so much creative things to do.
Yeah.
So much creative things to do.
Like ways you can make it
that's
different
me.
from other hardcore matches and stuff like that. Always thinking of like new things.
Sorry?
Like you're always thinking of like, you can think of like new things to do in terms of like, how do I make this different from like the last no DQ match I did and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. This is, I think it's very challenging stipulation that really makes your brain work. So either you can take it easy and do the classic things, or you can try and be creative with it.
Yeah.
And that's something I really like to do.
No, it's a good choice. It's a good choice. The next one is your favourite place in the world.
Home. So Brittany, I would say it's Quiberon, which is actually in the south of Brittany. So yeah, I could say either that or more like a figure thing. Stage.
Yeah, I love that.
Stage feels like home as well, you know. So.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I like that one. I like both. Those are both cool. Those are both good. And the final one is your dream holiday destination.
Wow. I don't know. I think I traveled quite a few places, so I would say, to be fair, well, I've been to Norway, and I unfortunately didn't see the, how do you call them? The lights?
Oh, the Northern Lights, yeah.
The Northern Lights, I didn't see them. So I would say, again, like somewhere up north, on the day when there's lights, because that's really one of my dreams to see them.
Yeah, that's cool. I'd love to see them. Like, it's just crazy, right? Like,
oh yeah.
Like, how does the world do that?
Yeah, I actually did a horse ride on a Viking horse that, by the way, are very tiny. They are very tiny.
Oh, Viking horse sounds like it would be big.
Yeah, no, yeah, I know that's what people think, but they are very tiny, and they have 5 different pace instead of 3 for normal horses. And that was an actual incredible experience, but unfortunately it was cloudy and we couldn't see the lights, so that's a thing. No. Otherwise it would have been the best moment of my life.
Yeah, no, that's cool. No, hopefully, I'm sure you'll get to see him at some point, though. I'm sure you'll get to see him at some point.
Yeah, I'll make sure.
Nice, brilliant. Well, that brings us really near to the end of the chat. I've got just a couple of final, like, closing questions. One that I just thought of, really, that I didn't have noted down, but I wanted to ask you about is, like, I don't know if you'd class it as, like, a photo shoot as such, but, like, the photos that you post on Instagram and stuff when you're in Camden, like, those Camden photo shoots you've done, like, that are really cool. Like, it seems like it's, like sun setting and, like, it's really silhouetted and stuff. Like, I've got to say, like, that's one of, like, my favourite, like, wrestler photo shoots I've, like, ever seen. And, like, that might just be coming from someone who, like, again, now lives in London and loves Camden. But, like, I just think it's so cool, like, the way it's taken and, like, the way you look in them, like, all the, like I say, like, the silhouette and stuff, like, it seems like Camden's a very Chimera place, you know what I mean? It seems like a very, like, 100%. You fit in well there.
Each time I have a shooting, like, video shooting or photo shooting, like, the first thing I think is, yeah, let's go to Camden. It's just even, it's not even like, there's no other options. It's just Camden. It's just, it has to be.
Yeah, it's a very Kira place, right? Like, just in terms of, like, your character and your personality and stuff, like, it feels like it just fits really well.
Oh, yeah, like, the first time I came to Camden, it was, oh, I feel so home. This is amazing. You know that feeling when you're a place that you feel you belong to. So, yeah, Camden is a big one. I love the vibe. I love the colors. I love the brick walls. I love when it turns dark. There's like beautiful lights. The canal. Everything is just so sweet. The food is amazing. Good point for Camden when it comes to food.
There you go. Camden more than England.
Yeah, exactly. Just Camden. Yeah. the shops and everything. Like I just love Camden.
Yeah, no, and it's got some good gig venues as well. It's got some real good gig venues.
Fantastic.
No, love that. No, they're really cool. So like those are like, I love those photos. Like they're really cool. But like that brings us nicely to the end of the chat, and we've got a little like closing tradition here on the podcast where our last guest leaves a question for our next guest, but you're not allowed to know who left it. So the question you've been left here is it's also really random. I can't imagine this is something that anyone has ever thought about. But have you had a Magnum before, the ice cream?
Yeah.
Okay. When you eat a Magnum, do you just bite into it, or do you eat the chocolate off first and then the ice cream?
I eat the chocolate first.
No.
And then the ice cream.
What?
Yeah.
That's mad.
Very
They asked
because-
this, like, because they were different, like, so the people who asked it was a tag team. You know, in recording, I can't ruin who asked you it, but, like, yeah, it's a tag team, and one of them said they did, and one of them said they didn't, and I was like, no one just eats the chocolate off first. That's so weird.
French people will. I mean, chocolate is just is the best part of it.
But you want it all together, right? That's like the flavour experience, is you get the chocolate and the ice cream together.
To be fair, if I could just have the chocolate and not the ice cream, I'd be happy.
That's so... I didn't think you were going to say that. I thought, like, whoever...
Especially the double ones, you know, the double chocolate or double caramel or whatever.
What, so you eat all the chocolate and, like, the other covering off first, and then...
Yeah.
Oh, that's so... But
But
then
you know
just
what?
got...
I do the same with my lasagna. I eat the top of the lasagna, and then, you know, the white bit?
Yeah. You eat that first?
Yeah.
Oh, this is random. This is very weird. Do you do it with anything else?
I
Like,
know.
because again, like I said to people who asked it, I have a friend who like will eat a Jaffa cake by eating the chocolate off the Jaffa cake first and then eating the cake.
Oh, yeah, I did that as well. I did that.
What? This is so bizarre to me.
And then the last bit, you're like, well, I don't know.
But that's the thing. That's why you want it all together, right? Otherwise, the last bit's just pointless. Like with a Magnum, if you eat the chocolate off, it's just ice cream. It's just like plain ice cream. There's no fun in that.
Yeah, exactly. This what's the point?
Oh, that's so weird. I didn't think you were going to say that. So I love the way this has gone now. That's eye-opening for me. That's really... I was like, they asked it, and I was like, no one is going to say they eat the chocolate off first. Like, I was sure...
You know what? You should absolutely do a Twitter poll.
I will. Actually, I might do. Yeah. Once this
You
goes
might be
out and people
surprised.
know the question, I'll ask the Twitter poll. Yeah, I'll put a Twitter poll up.
Yeah,
And like,
definitely.
I'll ask people because this has blown my mind now. So I need to know. Well, I think that's a brilliant way to end. I don't think we could have ended the podcast any better than that. Kira Chimera, thank you so much for coming on the Graph
Thank you
Theory
very
podcast.
much.
I hope you've enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. Thank you very
Good.
much.
I'm glad. That means a lot. We always end by giving our guest one final bit of promo time. So whether it's at United Wrestling when you face Scotty Rawk, or UKPW when you're having that great match, champion versus champion with Alexander Roth, or any other shows you might be on, out in France, over here in England, wherever you might be, if someone sees Kira Chimera on a match poster and wants to come and check you out, why are you going to steal the show?
Because I'm just the best. No, I don't want to say this kind of bullshit. I hate that. I genuinely hate that. But I am one of the only wrestlers who actually has a message, who actually wrestles for a reason. So come and see it because it's a masterclass. Yay.